Why is Mark Zuckerberg building a $300 million mansion fortress with underground shelters and blast-proof doors?
Because we never been to the moon.
I'm fooling y'all, man. I was fooling y'all. Those was jokes.
Honestly, I don't know why he doing it. I mean, tell us, Mr. Clean.
The CEO of Meta, a company that promised to connect the world with Facebook and Instagram, is building what sounds a lot like a doomsday bunker on Kauai. It's a Hawaiian island fortress, complete with escape hatches, surveillance systems, and the capacity to house over 100 people. And he's buying land that contains burial grounds where local families have visited their ancestral graves for generations. It sounds like dystopian fiction, but it's chillingly real. The same man who built a platform to connect humanity is now surrounding himself with impenetrable walls and non-disclosure agreements, so strict that construction workers get fired for posting on social media about the project. But let's be clear, this isn't about one billionaire's bunker. This is about what Silicon Valley calls all of these survival compounds: apocalypse insurance. It's a window into the mind of doomsday prepper tech oligarchs. They spent decades telling us their technology will create utopia, all while seeming to prepare for civilizational collapse. They mined your data, broke your trust, and called it progress. Now, they're retreating to their mountainhead doomsday estates to watch it all burn from above. The irony would be laughable if it weren't so disturbing. I'm Gil Duran, and this is the Nerd Reich Podcast. To unpack the tech bro prepper trend, we've got two guests with their own compound interests. We're joined by Guthrie Scrimgeour. He's a freelance writer who broke the story of Zuckerberg's mega compound at Wired magazine. And we're also joined by special guest Taylor Lorenz, who has been tracking Silicon Valley's culture and cult-like behavior for years. This is a story about how digital feudalism is going physical. And the people building our dystopian future, they don't plan to live in it.
Didn't I tell y'all when y'all see this face that I'm about to drop a truth bomb on you? Candace Owens.
Hey, yo, who did her hair like Darth Vader's helmet? That's what I'm saying, man. Y'all play too much. God, man. Insecure niggas. That's why I hate you.
Should have known that you was a controlled op. Y'all check out these clips. You exposed, Candace. You are exposed.
She's just another controlled opposition puppet. Candace Owens was definitely planted in the right-wing conservative media space. This is easy to see and hard to deny. She literally came out of nowhere and was being tweeted out by Kanye West and being invited on Fox News. That was the first obvious red flag and clear indication that she is controlled opposition. The system only bigs up those a part of the system. If Candace wasn't a part of that system, she wouldn't be tweeted out by Kanye or being invited on Fox News. She definitely wouldn't have 4 million followers or have that much algorithm support on YouTube and social media. All of this attention she is receiving proves the machine is pushing her. After looking deeper into her, I was able to find definitive proof that she's controlled opposition. See, Candace Owens was initially releasing her shows through a platform called Praise For You. Her Candace Owens show was hosted on there from 2018 until 2021. Praise For You is basically controlled by the Wilks brothers, two billionaire brothers who invested over $8 million in that company. These billionaire elites, who made their money in petroleum, used PagerU to push whatever propaganda they wanted to push. Candace was just another mouthpiece to push whatever propaganda they wanted. In fact, Candace Owens even rallied for the private prison industries, the people who have monetized incarceration and has used shady techniques to increase the number of inmates they get. For example, like I explained before, the same people invested in the private prison industries are invested in the music industry. The record labels are encouraged to sign more gangster rappers to promote a criminal lifestyle in order to influence more people to end up in a private prison.
Oh, Candace, I ain't done.
Candace claims to know the history of America and how it is corrupted by the Masons, but then pretends to not know the history of the Roman Catholic Church and how it's just pagan Rome in disguise. On top of this, these photos of her conversion ceremony was pretty strange, as the Catholic Church looked awfully similar to a Masonic lodge. In this picture, you can see the church where she did her conversion, and you can quickly notice the Masonic checkerboard floor. You can also notice the two Masonic pillars of knowledge that could be found at every Masonic lodge. You can't tell me this doesn't look like a Masonic lodge. Add this with photos like this one, in which Candace is seen doing Masonic hand gestures while wearing a red Trump hat. If Candace admits to knowing about the Freemasons, why is she then using Masonic hand gestures? Why is she also converting to Catholicism? And why does this Catholic Church look like a Masonic?
Just like the Bible say the world love its own, Hollywood love their own.
Let's go over some more images that are hidden within major Hollywood movie posters. By mirroring the right side of The Last Jedi, the theme continues. Aside from the symbolism, Figures that resemble aliens, demons, and/or the Baphomet are too repetitive for it to be by chance, and I'm only showing examples. However, all of these posters have overlapping images and mirroring from all angles. Does it count if we have to mirror the posters in order to make out the images? Yes, because mirroring is a concept deeply embedded in esoteric symbolism across various traditions and practices. As for the overlapping, artists use different techniques such as anamorphosis, ambiguous images, and hidden faces. We see all three of these techniques used on these posters. Now that that's established, let's get back into it. The rise of Skywalker. Eyes, nostrils. It also doubles as what looks like a gray alien. We'll see a lot of those. Such as on the other side of this poster. Couple UFOs in the background. Below, you can make out multiple faces. Skywalker must really be an alien because the other poster for the rise of Skywalker also has what looks like a gray. Another face here and here. You have another alien face, and this one in the middle looks like a demonic elephant. Look at the detail on the eyes. It's not pareidolia. It's a theme, and it continues. This alien-like figure is special. He has a gray alien peeking out of a hole in his chest, and a face below it. On the other side, this grinning figure with red eyes has horns like a Baphomet. Another grinning figure with red eyes. You can see multiple faces in this one, but if you also look at it as a whole, it resembles the face of a dragon. Spider-Man. Well, my spidey senses tells me there was intention behind making this look like an Egyptian-style gray alien, as well as these demonic eyes. Flipping it, it could be a coincidence, but the hands look like it's throwing up sixes. I believe there was intention here as well. There's so much of it, it's hard to rule out. And the symbolism isn't surprising. What's bizarre is the repetitive theme of aliens and demons.
Well, you make some interesting points, and I can't say I don't see the connection without the threat of being demonetized. So, I don't think I really see the connection.
The entirety of Atlanta needs to be studied because now we have grown-ass men wearing mini skirts as the new fashion trend. And honestly, when I first saw this, I thought they were joking. But then I looked at the Get Ready With Me. Bro, yeah, I don't really think they joking. And if they are, that is one hell of an attempt at some clout. Like, you just ruined your digital footprint for the rest of your life. Like, now your son or daughter cannot get in any type of roast battle because all they have to do is pull up a video of their dad in a fucking miniskirt and then automatically they're silenced. There's nothing else they could possibly say. This is your father, gang. They gonna be crying for years, bro. Easily made fun of. Now look, at the end of the day, I genuinely don't give a fuck if you wear a dress. But it's like, bro, imagine seeing little baby in a fucking skirt. Like, the internet would fucking lose it. The funniest part about this whole thing is that Boondocks literally predicted this word for word. It's insane, bro. Like, niggas who's wearing gangstalicious skirts, like, that shit don't even exist.
Mind manipulation techniques that they're using. I know for a fact that the plan is to make all of us feel totally helpless. That what's happening is beyond our realm to affect because we've been taken over by aliens.
I'm trying to listen, but I can't help thinking that all you need is a little climax. You'll forget all about these aliens. That's just me. Well, fellas, you leave it in the comments. Women too. If you looking at her like, man, I give you some of this Dirk Diggler, you'd be like, aliens, man, fuck them goddamn aliens.
That our Independence Day is dawning. So beware of that. Understand that those criminals have been keeping information and technology from us under their blanket of national security. They are 25 years ahead of us at least, technologically. Can you imagine what they've got now? 25 years ahead? What's happened that you're aware of in the last 25 years? Microwave ovens, we've got computerization, and they've had access to all of that to continue their own advancements. They're way ahead. So when they say, it's aliens, and they show us some incredible technology, don't fall into the trap of feeling totally helpless, that this is beyond our realm to affect. Superstition begins where knowledge leaves off. And they have been keeping knowledge from us for a long time. People have all kinds of belief systems. And I'm sure each and every one of you has various and different belief systems as well. Regardless of what your belief system is, it is imperative that you know that these criminals are people. They are within our realm to affect. They need to be held accountable for their actions and their crimes against humanity.
Satan is described in Scripture as a roaring lion seeking whom he may devour. 1 Peter 5:8. The wicked one. Matthew 13:19. A liar and the father of it. John 8:44. The god of this age. 2 Corinthians 4:4. The adversary. 1 Peter 5:8. And the ruler of this world. John 14:30. All of these designations indicate a being that is evil and intent on our destruction. The Word of God teaches us to be on guard. One of the scariest descriptions of Satan is given by the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians chapter 11:14, as he describes the danger of false teachers. And no wonder, for Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. When we think of the devil, perhaps our minds imagine someone ugly, mean, evil. But Satan appears to the naive or unknowing as righteous and good. Paul's point here is to be aware that a false teacher may not appear to be false. In verse 15, Paul writes, "Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also transform themselves into ministers of righteousness, whose end will be according to their works." Be careful. The devil is devious and disguises himself and his servants effectively. Don't be fooled.
Good thing the devil isn't real, or else I'd be scared a little bit. Wait, the devil's not real, right? Well, why in the hell, in order for me to be famous, I gotta suck his balls?
So Universal released some new posters and a new trailer for the movie Him coming out September 19th. And it's really showing us how many layers of symbolism is really in this movie. Now, I actually went to an event in LA yesterday for this film, and it was at that event and in watching the first half of the movie where I really learned a whole lot about this concept. One of the new posters features our main character, Cameron Cage, which looks like he's posing like Jesus. He's on a football field, shirtless with 2 footballs, completely covered in blood, and as you can see, the clouds behind him look like wings. Now, as holy as this picture looks, it's basically a complete contrast to what's actually going on in the film. But at the same time, it still falls right in line because God is still technically at the center of all of his decisions, but he's just surrounded by so many things that are definitely not godlike. This film explores themes of cult-like mindsets and idol worship. Although the movie is about football, honestly, it could be applied to almost any fandom, but the poster that really got me was definitely this one. First of all, it shows exactly how crazy Marlon Wayans is in this movie. And again, I only saw the first half of it, and he was already off the rails. And you can tell this poster image drew a lot of inspiration from real life athletes, Michael Jordan and Bill Russell with their rings, but more specifically Tom Brady. Because did you know that this movie actually was going to be called GOAT at first? And ironically, that's exactly what people call Tom Brady. And it's funny because if you notice, he doesn't have a ring on his pinky or his thumb, compared to this picture where he also doesn't have a ring on his thumb. And not only does he not have a ring on his pinky, but his pinky is broken. However, the broken body part is very important to this film. Same thing with the head injury and the bloody eyeball. And we've seen plenty of examples of people tampering with dark forces to gain fame in music and movies, but we've never really seen that explored in the sports world, especially when you have real life examples of athletes who are so good that it made people question, how in the hell did you get that great? What did you bargain your soul for to be this successful for this long? Also, we're going to see a completely different side of Marlon Wayans, but at the end of the day, he's still gonna be Marlon Wayans. If you guys have seen the new trailer for Him, please hit me up in the comments and let me know your thoughts about it. This movie comes out in a little over a month, man, and I'm definitely excited for it. I think this one is going to be a banger. From what I've seen, it's definitely going to be.
Whitney Houston didn't die. She was sacrificed. They say the industry doesn't kill, it harvests.
If you are unvaccinated and the virus comes into your community, the virus will hunt you out. The virus hunts down the unvaccinated.
The virus will find the unvaccinated. That's what they all say.
And it's a virus that will find you if you're not vaccinated.
If you're unvaccinated, it will find you.
The virus is literally finding unvaccinated people.
It will find the unvaccinated.
We're seeing COVID-19 tracking down unvaccinated people.
You know, if you're unvaccinated and you're in circulation, you're going to get it.
Well, the Delta variant of COVID-19 has the potential to spread through an unvaccinated community like wildfire.
The Delta variant is so aggressive that if you are unvaccinated, it's going to find you.
Delta is finding the unvaccinated.
The Delta variant will find you.
If you're not vaccinated, it will find you.
The virus tends to find places that are under-vaccinated.
It does not just move to city centres. It finds the unvaccinated wherever they are.
Sorry, in this part of the video, I thought the virus had found me, but then I remembered I did get vaccinated. Phew, boy. Well, huh? Oh, it was from Leroy Rallo and them. Yeah, they was giving out vaccinations, tablets. I took a vaccination tablet. Yeah.
You might live in the middle of the desert, but it can still find you.
But if you're unvaccinated, this virus is looking for you.
You know, this virus, this infection will seek out the people who are either unvaccinated or have only had one jab and are not fully protected.
Virus does seem to be finding older people who have not received that third dose.
We'll ultimately find just about everybody.
But these 3 people, 2 of them weren't vaccinated, 1 had just had their first dose. The virus has found them.
The Star of David, where does that symbol come from?
It's never written explicitly in the Bible itself.
Is it in the Talmud? Perhaps. So you're not really sure exactly where that comes from?
No. You got me.
Is it nobody knows,
Yeah,
huh?
I don't know. I'm not, yeah.
I believe that what they call the Star of David is actually the Star of Remphan. Because when you study the Bible, you'll see that when they worshipped other gods, the Bible talks about them carrying the banner of the star of their god Remphan.
Now, who is this star god? If they only read the Old Testament, they would know this. In Amos, God said, you have taken up the star, and you've made me furious by doing that. And you have actually sacrificed your own children to the star god. They sacrificed their own children, the Jews did, to the star god.
When they worshipped a false god, they had the Star of Remphan as an icon and as a symbol. We never see a Star of David in Scripture, but the star of the false god Remphan.
Did you know that in 1963, researchers literally drove people insane on purpose and called it science?
I did not know that, but I ain't surprised, because why wouldn't they?
The Tavistock Institute in London recruited volunteers for what they thought was a harmless sleep research. Dr. William Sargent, a government-connected psychiatrist, had darker plans. Participants were kept awake for up to 180 hours straight, while audio loops played endlessly in their ears. After days without sleep, their minds began to crack completely. Subject 23 lasted 7 days before his psyche shattered entirely. He attacked the researchers with his bare hands, screaming incoherently. They had to restrain him as he clawed at his own face, no longer recognizing reality. He was permanently institutionalized, his original personality gone forever. The CIA later adopted these exact techniques for interrogations, all in the name of psychological warfare research.
There is no such thing as a Democrat or Republican. The only thing that does exist is a group of elite oligarchs that torture men, women, and children worldwide. That exists, my friends. Republican and Democrat, that's an illusion. It doesn't exist. For the people that are out here fighting over their red and blue, you've been pimped. You've been led astray, as Malcolm X used to say. Everybody's jumping on Trump because of the ICE and the deportations. Obama did the same thing on a higher level. It just he did it more cool and slick and seamless, so you couldn't detect how bad it was.
No, what happened was all of us as Americans, our racism kicked in. Like now, my racism is saying, "Shut the fuck up." How do you know? How do you know, darky? Yeah, right. Or is that just me? You leave it in the comments.
He had a much smoother operation.
You think that I could be an Illuminati member?
I think you potentially could be an Illuminati member, Dr. Phil. I don't think that you get this amount of power and influence and media coverage without taking a deal.
With who?
The Illuminati. They would come and say, Dr. Phil, we can offer you all the money, we can offer you power, we can offer you influence. You just need to take a deal with us.
Could I be wearing a mask?
You could. Could I get up and look?
No, how are you going to look?
I'm just gonna...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yo, are you like playing with me, Dr. Phil? What's all this stuff on your neck? What is that? You got cufflinks in your neck, bro? Why are eyes so close together? You beady-eyed, but damn, your face look like they designed it on the Nintendo Wii, bro. What's going on, man? I'm not fucking with you, Dr. Phil.
What do you think?
I think that the technology is so advanced.
Let me tell you, sister, if I was wearing a mask, it wouldn't look like this.
I mean, if you think about it, it kind of looks like a reptile. Look at this. Look at this reptile. Let's see this. You can't tell me that ain't got reptile on it, man. That's like that look. He's got that look. Look at that eye. You know that little lizard eye? That one eye that's like looking everywhere because he's looking for the next fly to catch. Nope, he caught one.
They don't want you to know this.
Irish women were forced into colonial breeding pens. They were used like livestock to create lighter slaves. And it happened on an island that still flies an Irish flag. Montserrat. 17th century. The British Empire turned this small Caribbean island into something unspeakable.
The damn Brits. Connor told me not to trust those cheeky bastards.
Poor Irish women, displaced and desperate, were taken and confined under armed watch. They were forced into pairings with enslaved African men, not out of love or survival, but to create a new labor class. The children born from these unions were classified by skin tone. The lighter the child, the higher the market value. British officials called it racial improvement. But this wasn't science. It was slavery with a new face. These women weren't free to say no. Those who resisted were punished. And the children? Often sold or forced into more pairings as they got older. This wasn't some dark rumor. It was a documented system. And Montserrat still bears the Irish flag today. But the story of these women is missing, because when history becomes inconvenient, they erase it.
6 is the number of time, space, and matter. It represents the three-dimensional material world. Up, down, left, right, backwards, and forward. It's a six-sided cube. Jesus' cross is a cube unfolded. 666 is the exact same structure of carbon, and your body's made out of carbon. The body is the mark of the beast, the mark of this three-dimensional material world.
You guys know that 1913 was the year we actually lost control of our country, right? Oh, and just for historical context, World War I started in 1914. I mean, look, I'm sure that was a coincidence, but let me just tell you all the things that were created in 1913. First, the Federal Reserve, which is neither federal nor has any reserves. It's basically a private bank that just controls all of our money. Second thing created in 1913 was the IRS. And I'm sure it's just a coincidence that it was created the exact same year that a private bank took over all of our money. Yeah, I'm sure it's a coincidence that that was the year they started taxing you. Like, you work, they print, and then you pay them back with interest. Yeah, that makes sense. The next thing created was the Rockefeller Foundation. Yeah, and let's be real, that was all about philanthropy. It's not like they took control of medicine, education, science, and basically the health of the world. I mean, let's be real, all they were doing was donating money. Yeah, it's not like they were buying control of everything. Oh, and that worked out so well, right? Because people are healthier and more self-sufficient than ever, right? Oh yeah, also in 1913 was the American Cancer Society. I mean, that sounds like a good thing, right? That can't possibly be bad. Except it was completely funded by extremely wealthy people. But even though it was a charity, they never really gave to anyone. No, they just took their money and invested in pharmaceutical drugs. Oh, and chemo. Yeah, instead of taking that money and investing in companies that were trying to find a cure, no, we'll just invest in companies that use chemicals from the military that were later banned. Yeah, that's a good thing to keep fucking putting into people. Then also created in 1913, the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which sure, yeah, it's about civil rights. Yeah, totally. It's not about censoring people or, silencing critics. And then in 1914, we had World War I. And that became the first war ever that private industry profited from war. The private industry that's owned by the same families that created the Fed, the IRS, the Rockefeller Foundation, the American Cancer Society, the ADL. Again, just a coincidence. Oh, I'd also like to point out that a year prior to 1913, 1912, yeah, that was when the Titanic sank. And it's funny how 3 of the wealthiest individuals on that ship were the loudest voices opposed to central banking. Oh, and there's also the little tidbit that JP Morgan was supposed to be on that boat, but he canceled at the last second. But yeah, that's conspiracy. That's tinfoil hat talk. So what's happened since 1913? Well, the dollar has lost 99% of its value. Our debt has just become like a number that we ignore. Middle class getting fucked daily. War is now an industry instead of a conflict. Oh yeah, and your money isn't real anymore. Like, it's just not real. It's not backed by anything. It's just numbers on a paper that private bank prints. So guys, look, if you're worried about America being conquered or, a rebellion or it being taken over.
Do you know how long it would take to do that with a hammer and chisel? At least 50 years. You wouldn't be able to, basically. Look at it. Apparently constructed without power tools. Apparently constructed without power tools. Do you believe that? This is ancient technology. This is etheric electromagnetic harvesting, ancient technology. And the purpose of this is to harvest electromagnetic energy from the ether that's always there and utilize it, and nowadays supply it to your house, and then you pay for it. That's what this is for.
The moon landing? Really? That's still a topic of conversation? Like, people are actually still discussing whether we landed on the moon or not? That's hilarious. I want to take a second and explain something to all of you. And that's this. If you don't know this already, all of the mainstream news media sources are all owned by the same people. Every one of them. And yes, while some of them say something and some of them say something else, that's planned. It's to get you divided and arguing amongst yourselves and have divisiveness, disagreement. It's intentional. And I think a lot of people are starting to figure that out. But here's what people don't know. Not at all. Is that these people, all these news sources and all these people that create this media, well, these people are also the same people that put out the conspiracies. It's true. They do. They put out a mainstream narrative for the sheeple to believe in, and then they put out a conspiracy for the people that are digging a little bit to believe in. And I'm going to use the moon landing to prove this to you. We all know the mainstream narrative of the moon landing is they went to the moon, they landed on the moon, first man to step on the moon, one small step for man, one giant step for mankind, yada, yada, yada. Okay, but then here's the conspiracy stuff. They faked it because of the space race. They had to fake it because we had to beat the Russians. Okay, so that's one layer of their next layer of conspiracies that they plant. They want that there. So people who figure out that it's fake, well, they think that they faked it because of this. But it doesn't stop there. They really don't want you to know the ultimate truth, which we'll get to. So they put out other conspiracies like this. NASA intentionally crashed an object into the moon, and it sent measurements into the moon that made it ring like a bell. So now that takes your attention off of, well, did they actually land on the moon? They must have landed on the moon if they dropped something on the moon to make it ring like the bell. And now your mind is thinking, well, the real conspiracy is that the moon is a spaceship of some kind because it rang like a bell. It's hollow. So now it took you away from whether it's real or not to what's up with the moon. It's misdirection. They want your mind going anywhere in any direction but the truth. So they misdirect it in every way possible, like this, like literally leaking supposed real photos of potential structures on the moon. And now you're thinking, oh my God, there's alien bases on the moon. And the dark side of the moon has alien bases. So now you're so far from even thinking about the moon landing being real or not. You're thinking maybe they faked it because of the space race. And maybe it's hollow because, look, they said they dropped something on the moon and it made it ring, so it's got to be hollow. And there are buildings on there. There are actual alien structures. So now you're focused on that instead of even worrying about whether they landed on it or not. You think, oh, well, maybe they landed on it, but it's fishy and there's some sort of story because they found alien artifacts on there. Again, just directing you in every direction but the truth. And this isn't just the moon. This is everything, like even literal Theo Huxtable dying. I don't believe that the man drowned. Blah, blah, blah. It's so suspicious. There's different stories. Why are there different stories? There has to be two different stories. Yeah, because they plan a mainstream narrative, which they want you to believe. And if you don't believe that, you go digging for their conspiracy that they plant so you don't find the ultimate truth. And what's that? What's that? Well, with the moon, it's that you can't get to the moon. The moon's not something you can land on. There's a firmament talked about in page 1 of the Bible, and I didn't believe in the Bible. Whatever. I'm not a like crazy religious nut that thinks there's a firmament because I believed in the Bible. No, it was proven to me through evidence and research and observable and measurable and repeatable evidence that the Earth isn't a globe and we're not spinning. And there's actually a cover on us, a literal cover called the firmament. So now I believe in the Bible because it was proven to me. So they create the lies, the mainstream narrative, the conspiracy that isn't created by conspiracy theorists. It's created by the mainstream, and they call it a conspiracy. So when you find the conspiracy, you don't find the truth, that there's a firmament above your head and you can't get to the moon no matter what you do. And even if you could, you can't land on it because it's probably not a solid object. With the moon we see is just a projection probably of a light that's in the firmament, and we're seeing, it's like a rainbow. You can't land on a rainbow, right? The sun's the same way. You can't land on the sun because the real sun is in the firmament and we're just seeing the apparent light. That's a story for another video. And with Theo, they want you thinking he died, and then they want you thinking suspicious happened, so you don't find the real truth that he didn't die. He just faked his death, and he's going to move on to a new character because that's what they do. Celebrities don't die young. They just change roles, and they need to tell you they died so you don't know they changed roles. It happens all the time. They just tell you that someone, and you're, wow, poor person that I worship, poor celebrity, oh, they died too young. No, they didn't. They just are literally switching roles. We'll see him. I will find him in a few months, maybe a year. I guarantee it. You see, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Not whatsoever. I'm a researcher, and I look past the mainstream narrative, and then I look past the conspiracy, because the conspiracy is created by the exact same people that created the mainstream narrative. It's just a trap for you to get stuck at, so you think you researched and found the truth, when the truth is always much, much deeper. And usually the truth is something that is going to make you realize that you live in a spiritual realm, and there is all sorts of spiritual warfare going on all around you. And once you realize that, you do not fall victim to all of their narratives, all of their lies, and you just let them bounce off you like you're Superman in Bulletproof. Oh, and by the way, most of the Supermen are actually people who used to be someone else, and now they're someone playing Superman, aka Christopher Reeves turned into Brandon Roth, and Anton Yelchin turned into David Copperspelt, or whatever the new Superman is. Do you get what I'm saying here? Just go watch my videos. Scroll on my videos for 3 days, and then you'll come back and you'll go, aha, Tyler was right. But of course, all this for entertainment purposes. I'm sure we landed on the moon, people. If you're still talking about that, you're in the wrong group of people. Those are people who don't care about truth, and they just watch the news, eating their popcorn, and believe in everything they're told.
This is the Seraphim catacombs, built between 1550 and 1520 BC, allegedly by King Amenhotep. And this place, this underground place, was carved out by the Egyptians to bury the bull, the Apis bull, the jackal, and the cat that they worshipped. They did sacrifices and stuff like that. There's 24 of these huge granite sarcophaguses, and look at that. Look at that. How did they do this? How did they make that like that? 70 tons. 70 tons. And allegedly in the 1850s, they didn't find any bulls. They didn't find any full mummified bodies in any of these things. And I think it's BS that they're telling us that this is for animals. I think these are Nephilim sarcophagi. Whether this is pre-flood or not, I'm not entirely sure, because we know the Nephilim came back after the flood, according to the Book of Numbers. And obviously there's giant bones and stuff that you can freely search on Google. But look at that. How did they cut that? This is mined 550 miles south in Aswan, Egypt. Look at the carvings. Some of these carvings may have been added later, but look at the sharp bronze tools. I think this is a Nephilim tomb, because you know there's Egyptian hieroglyphic artwork of massive giant people, or at least people bigger than the other people, standing around. And look, how did they carve out the inside of this? Look at those sharp angles like that. And now that we know that the mainstream lies about everything, they didn't find any full mummified bulls down here. They found pieces of things, bones of things, but the tomb raiders probably found these huge people in these coffins, and they used to eat mummified people because they thought that, you know, eating mummified people would, you know, give them health benefits. So y'all see how smooth this is? Sorry if it's loud in the background. I'm currently in New York, but look how smooth that is. They're not doing this with hammer and chisel. Okay, this is ancient technology, and I believe that this is. Oh yeah, and by the way, when they discovered this, they found this sarcophagus just randomly in the tunnel, and our guy looked us in the face and said that they built the tunnel around the sarcophagi. Like, how did they get them down there? And he was like, oh yeah, they just built it on top. They built the cave system on top of the sarcophagi. Like, and I was looking at him, I'm like, I'm not gonna cause any problem.
Thank you to my channel members. We said thank you, to my channel members. No diddy when I say member. Thank you to my channel members. Fuck you if you're not a member. Nah, I'm just kidding, but seriously, join. Thank you